Okay, thank you. I'm actually going to do a quick little plug for these sheets that are on your tables. If anybody has ideas for speakers, please let Laura or I know. There's a QR code if you want to do it online. If you want to talk to us, that's great, but having information is really helpful to us. And a recommendation is actually how we found our speaker today. So this is proof that we take your information and make it reality. So today we are happy to have Temi with us. She is from Urban Homeworks, or formerly Urban Homeworks. It is now Housing in Action, and she is the Equity and Engagement Director. There she works on policy, community engagement, and pathways to home ownership. She is going to provide a detailed overview about the organization and the work that they do in housing justice, and the ways that we as a community can engage with this work. So thank you very much for being with us today, Temi.
Can you all hear me all right? Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me. I've never actually been to a Rotary Club, so I'm honored to be here. Like Sarah said, my name is Temi. I'm the Equity Engagement Director at Housing in Action. Some of you may be completely unfamiliar with this name, and we were formerly Urban Homeworks, so some of you might know us as that. It was actually in March we had a name change, so we've been Urban Homeworks for about 30 years. We've been Housing in Action for about 3 months. So really excited to live out this new name as well as our new mission and vision. So Housing in Action, or I'll say HIA throughout, but our mission is to lead the fight in housing justice so that all people have a safe, stable, and dignified place to call home. And our vision is simply that, housing justice for all. And our values are love, anti-racism, and grit. So that really guides us in how we do this work to oversee our mission and our vision. I really love the work we do. I care a lot about housing justice, so being a part of an organization like Housing in Action was a no-brainer, and I love the work we do. We have 4 major programs, the first being dignified rentals, so that is our affordable housing units that we rent out in the community, and I'll touch on all of these later. We also have our building homes department focused on exactly that, building affordable homes for home ownership. Then we have our homeownership pathways, which the idea is to hopefully get our renters from our dignified rentals into our homes. And then lastly, our connected communities. So first, touching on our dignified rentals, we have about 120 units throughout North Minneapolis, primarily South Minneapolis, and just a couple in St. Paul. We've reduced our St. Paul imprint over the years. And we focus on housing families and individuals who are at the 50 to 60% AMI level. For an individual, that's between $46,000 to $50,000. For a family of 4, that's about $66,000 to about $70,000. So as you can see, it is folks with high need, not a lot of resources. So we take on subsidies like Section 8 and other state and federal housing vouchers to ensure families have safe and dignified homes to live in. It's really important that our families feel that there is dignity in where they live, and it's not simply because you are of low income, you just get bare bones, and you should be happy with that. So it is really important to us that we're continuing to improve the properties. It can be hard when you're charging rent at a very low rate and the maintenance and upkeep is very costly and continues to rise. So having key partners is really integral to ensuring we can move forward in this value of ours. One of our longtime residents, Miss Jackie, we love her. She says, having stable housing means everything. You really can't move around in life without it. It's your pillar, it's your stabilization. It's where you can feel safe, where you can raise your children. So it really is important to us that not only are we moving forward in this, but our residents see that in the work we do, and there's not a disconnect there. So having our residents see that dignity in their care and how we support them is really important to us. The next aspect is our program of building homes. So we're a landlord, we're also a developer. So we build homes throughout the Minneapolis area, and again, targeting the 50 to 60% AMI level. So we use a lot of foundation support as well as city, state funding to be able to build the homes that typically costs around $500,000 to make. And we're able to turn around and sell it for between $185 to $295. So that funding helps cover that gap. So we're able to continue building these homes. We sometimes buy homes as is and refurbish them. We also buy plots of land to build completely new homes, single family specifically, but we're also expanding to cooperative homes, triplexes. So really want to provide various alternatives to the type of housing stock there is available for purchase. It's no surprise, you all may know that Minnesota has one of the largest disparities in the country in terms of home ownership between Black, Indigenous, and people of color and their white counterparts. So it is really important that as we advance these measures, we're really trying to focus on people of color who've been systemically denied these opportunities for generations and ensure that we're able to decrease the gap you see there. I can't play this because we don't have audio, but my hope is that you all will be able to get the slides to this, to be able to watch this video. This is Azad, one of my colleagues, and he leads our passive homes initiatives. So a lot of the homes we're building, we want to also ensure we're having environmental justice as well. So we build what's called passive homes. And essentially what a passive home is a highly rated standard for energy efficiency. Some of these passive homes also are retrofitted with solar panels. So the families moving in are getting a very low utility bill. This is running fully on electricity, so there's no gas whatsoever in the house. And then there's also really high insulation standards to ensure sustainability as well. This is not my department, so I'm not the expert, and that's why I wanted to show the video. So if you have a chance, I really do encourage you all to take a look at it, because it is really cool to see the work happening not only in North Minneapolis, but throughout the state of Minnesota, that's continually advancing environmental justice with housing justice. So I do encourage you to watch this video when you get the chance. So one of our newest initiatives, which I oversee, and it has been an honor and privilege to bring this work forward, is our homeownership pathways. So like I said earlier, it is our ultimate hope to move our renters into homeowners. We would love for them to purchase from us, but ultimately we want to see them in the positions where they own their home and they're able to build long-lasting roots in the communities they've lived in for generations. But as you see in places like North Minneapolis, where there is greater investment happening, which is great, what that often can lead to is a high rate of displacement as folks who are currently renting deal with landlords jacking up the rent, and now it's no longer affordable. So we do really see home ownership as an anti-displacement tool to keep our families in their communities. And our homeownership pathways have a few aspects to it. We have a HUD certified counselor who's able to provide one-to-one coaching to get our folks through that pre-approval phase and understanding their options. When folks aren't quite there yet, whether that's with credit score being low or they don't have enough saved up, we also work with them to improve on those aspects to get them in the position to get pre-approved and get into home ownership. Again, we like to navigate with them and let them know single-family homes is not the only option to owning a home, and really helping folks see that there are a lot of avenues to owning. So that's really important for us to make sure our families feel educated in making the choice that is the best for them. We also have a down payment assistance program that we just started a couple years ago, and our families or individuals can get up to $20,000 in the form of a grant and down payment assistance that can go, again, to the down payment and closing costs, which is a really sweet opportunity because, as a lot of us know, the down payment is one of the biggest hurdles to being able to purchase a home. So being able to help families overcome that barrier to get them into home ownership is one of the greatest honors and one of my favorite parts of the work. I'm also looking forward to being able to establish our post-purchase support. I'm not sure how many of you all are homeowners, but buying the home is not the finish line. That's just the starting point, and really helping families navigate, okay, you purchased a home, now what? So we really want to make sure folks feel comfortable in knowing how to understand escrow and the fact that it does increase over time as taxes might increase, how to shop for a good insurance rate, finding trustworthy vendors to help fix your home, or maybe DIY. So really helping families just navigate those aspects into owning a home is one piece, but sustaining that is the next. So one of our recent home buyers, she purchased one of our homes, says, I dreamed of it, but it wasn't a dream that I ever thought would really happen, especially as a single woman. Buying a house as a Black person is truly something to celebrate because of the history of inequity and racism in this country. I'll be honest, Housing in Action is a very small org. There's about 12 of us. And what I love about the work we do is it can seem small and insignificant to only help house 5 families in a year. But that's generational, not just in building wealth for that family, but being able to build those roots and have a home that can get passed on, like Amber to her sons, from her sons to their children. So we really see the ripple effects, even if they're small, like they end up being so much bigger. So we love this work in our homeownership pathways. Our last piece is our connected communities. So it is really important, being in a place like North, that we want to partner with our residents. We want to partner with our community. So at no point do we see this as we're coming in to help you in this patronizing way. We see it as true collaboration, and it starts with relationship. So one of the aspects of our work in our Connected Communities program is with our current residents. We have monthly resident meetings, similar to you all having your monthly meetings, to connect, hear of resources and opportunities, but just to build relationship. So then when we get to a point of activism, there's trust there to be able to move into that. So we've had elected officials come to our resident meetings. We've had different community members and business owners, homeowners to come to our resident meetings to talk about home ownership, talk about rental insurance, talk about how to maybe start a business one day. So we love having those monthly connects. Sometimes they're really fun, and it's just a back to school barbecue where we work with local churches to get backpacks with supplies for our students so they feel prepared getting back to school. What we also do in our connected communities is, through our activism, is housing justice forums. So those are monthly, or not monthly, biannual events where we invite community, not just our residents, but folks throughout North and in Minneapolis, and we bring elected officials. And from there, we start with a meal for families to just talk to elected officials in an informal setting that can feel less scary to engage. So we have those opportunities for families just to talk about what they're seeing, what's going on in their communities, face to face with an elected official. Then we typically have a panel just to talk about certain policy that's moving at the state. City Council in Minneapolis is up for election this year. So being able to hear what is your platform and what are you trying to move forward and why should I vote for you? So wanting our community to understand the collective power they hold and have avenues for engaging in that way through our housing justice forums. So there's a lot of ways we try to connect with our residents and again, just build that relational building, the connection and care, but also just that collective power and how we can move forward in the work. So thinking about some ways to support, one is just kind of staying connected in what we're doing. We have a lot of social medias from Facebook to Instagram. I know we're newer in Blue Sky, but you can check us out on YouTube to see also the work we're doing. We love, again, for financial support, given what's going on at the federal and even at the state level, it can be really hard to do affordable housing work, and we need committed partners who are willing to contribute financially. And then subscribing to our email list. Those are ways to also know about what volunteer opportunities we have. We just did 2 weeks ago a community cleanup, and we went to one of our properties, a few of our properties as well, to plant some new flowers in the area. So there's a lot of ways just to engage in our world in North Minneapolis. So we would love for you to engage as you see fit. Again, I think right now it is more pressing than ever to ask for your support. The timing of when I was asked to come about a few months ago, so much has changed. And unfortunately, about a month ago, we were actually the victim of a cyber theft attack, and they stole everything, about $800,000 in our reserves. Over half of that was towards our home builds. So again, the investments into our home ownership opportunities, as well as our down payment assistance, a little under a quarter of that was stolen. So money we had reserved for future families to be able to put in a down payment, and a little over a third taken that was supposed to go into our dignified rentals to rehab some of our properties. So right now, Housing in Action is in a place of kind of just survival and staying afloat to be able to do the work we do. I think I liked what you were saying earlier about the highs, the mountaintops and the valleys, and right now we're in a valley, and we understand it takes a village to get out of that. And also in the valley, you really have a new perspective, and we're able to see really what the impact of our work is. Again, without our organization, like I said, over 130 dignified rentals that support over 300 families and individuals. Our zero interest down payment assistance for our first-time home buyers. The passive home constructions in North Minneapolis have been paused. And then the access to our home ownership and financial wellness through our one-to-ones and group sessions. Our resident organizing, like the resident meetings I told you, and as well just empowering the collective voice of our neighbors amplified at the Capitol. This is a lot that's in jeopardy right now, and it's an honor to do this work, and my hope is to continue doing this work. And it's through the generosity of so many that I feel confident we'll make it out on top. And when we're back at that mountain, able to look back and see that it wasn't just by our strength, but by the support and care of so many people to keep us going. So I just wanted to thank you for giving me the time. Again, I love the work I do, and to be able to share what's going on and the beauty and strength that's happening in North Minneapolis and the work that myself and my team at Housing in Action is committed to. It is hard, but it is so rewarding. And in the hard moments, we really remind ourselves of our why. And when I see a North Minneapolis that is flourishing and families who get to own their home and their kiddos get to play in their neighborhoods, go to school in their neighborhoods, and live, laugh, and love together, it makes every day worth it. And it's an honor to be here to share a little bit of that. I also want to make space for questions as well before I pass it back off to Deb.
I want to thank you, by the way. This is spectacular. And open it up to questions. Does anyone have a question?
Yeah. Your cause is obviously getting people into the house is important, but there's so many people that paycheck to paycheck and then a crisis comes. I've done the general counsel for the Minnesota Mortgage Association, and we work with Spare Key. But do you guys do references people either if they need an extra part-time job that's flexible, you send to a housing agency, or if they can't make a mortgage payment, get them to people like Spare Key who can kind of get them over whatever crisis it is that made it.
Yeah, no, very good question. We could not do this work without our community partners, and as we grow our home ownership pathways, we're also getting our certification in our foreclosure prevention to be able to support our families in that way. But in the meantime, we connect our folks to different organizations who are doing the work that we can't do, and then we look at it holistically. Our goal isn't to get you in a home if that's going to make you cost burden. So it is really important for us to see what are the right pathways for you either in this moment. Is it getting another job to help supplement that? Is it looking at maybe a cooperative where the costs are a little bit lower while you might not be building the same level of equity? Is it buying a home on a land trust? Is it trying to work with another nonprofit that can try and get you in a higher paying salary job? So we really look at it holistically of what would it take to get you into a home sustainably. Mm-hmm.
You didn't mention, I don't think, do you have an annual fundraising event of some kind?
Oh, thank you. My colleague will be so mad at me. I'm so sorry. We do. So I can share it with Sarah. We have our annual fundraiser called Lead the Fight. It's October 9th, I want to say. And again, it's our 30th anniversary, so it's going to be a fun birthday party celebration to the work we've been committed to and the work we're hoping to continue doing in North. So I will send it to Sarah to share it with you all so we can possibly put in the newsletter or just email it out to you folks. So thank you for reminding me. So you understand, yes. Yeah. I think I saw someone raise their hand. Oh, no? Okay.
Karen's got it. Go ahead, Karen.
Why did you change your name? It drives me nuts when NSP changed. I can't even figure out today what NSP is. But why did you change your name?
Yeah, very good question. The name change was the last piece of a several year long kind of revamping of our organization. So we started as Urban Homeworks 30 years ago. We were founded by a pastor, an evangelical pastor, and the mission was to advance the love of Jesus Christ through housing justice. And what we recognized was, again, in an ever-growing kind of secular world, that having kind of that piece, there are many people who question, can I come to live here if I'm Muslim or I'm atheist? Can I come to work here if I don't believe in Jesus? So while that focus can still be a very integral piece of an individual's why, of my why, we recognize the ways it didn't exactly connect with the heart of what we were trying to do with our community. And then also the urban piece and urban homeworks, we're actually hoping to continue to expand with our passive homes and some of our buildings into greater Minnesota. So having the name Urban Homeworks wasn't as fitting in the work we were moving forward into. Very good question, yes.
As a historically Christian organization, have you also had an increasing number of clients who are looking for Islamic financing?
Financing, you said?
Islamic financing where you purchase it in a way that doesn't include interest?
Yeah, so we don't have those means to do that ourselves, but yes, we do have Muslim residents who are seeking homeownership. And for folks who don't know, there's aspects of their faith that prevent them from traditional financing and securing a loan. So working with them to find pathways to home ownership is something we consider as we try and achieve home ownership for our Muslim residents, absolutely.
Just,
2 questions.
yeah.
What is your journey to end up with this organization? And what are you doing to assure people that if they contribute, there won't be another hack?
Absolutely, very good question. So why am I here? A lot of it has to do with my faith. I grew up in a safe and stable home, and at a young age, I recognized that wasn't something that everyone could say. So I really cared about housing specifically. So I went to the University of Minnesota, where I got my undergrad in nonprofit and entrepreneurial management at the Carlson School of Management. And that piqued my curiosity, and I understood, I needed to dive deeper into the policy. So I continued my education at Humphrey School of Public Affairs, where I got my master's in public policy to really understand the systemic issues. But all of that was with the understanding of, I wanted to go into housing. There's a lot of noble causes in healthcare, in education, in food security, but I felt having a safe home is so foundational. So after graduating, it was really important to seek opportunities to work in housing. So I've worked for several other nonprofits as well, focused on the broad spectrum of housing, and found home here at Housing in Action, where I get to advance policy in a very community-centered way to help ensure dignified housing from rentals to home ownership. So that's kind of what got me here. And yes, very good question. So we have completely changed our banking. So we no longer bank at the place where the hack happened, and have done a thorough analysis with our IT to ensure that there are no breaks or gaps in the system that could lead to a further hack. We're also working with local authorities again to pinpoint those aspects, or to investigate again the root of the hack, to hopefully recoup some of those costs, but also to get those hackers. So we've gone through a lot of great lengths to ensure, and luckily no donor or resident data was taken through that. Unfortunately, it's good, but it's bad. It was just the money, but yeah, so there's no donor data that's been compromised.
David, you had a question?
Where does your home building and advocacy work fit in with the various HRAs and Habitat for Humanity, and I don't know, maybe there are other places, other outfits that build homes too?
Yeah, so we're a group of many. I'd like to say, Minnesota's the land of 10,000 lakes. It's also the land of 10,000 nonprofits. So there's so many nonprofits doing similar work, but I think that allows us to then be specific. So we're primarily focusing in North Minneapolis in our builds, and also who we target at that 50 to 60% AMI. A lot of other builds are nonprofits who build tend to target like the 80 to 120% AMI because, again, there's less funding necessary to cover that gap. So there's a few ways in which we differentiate, but how I see it is, again, it takes a village. So we're all able to then focus on different aspects of building affordable homes because we're kind of a little niche in those aspects. So we're slightly different than Habitat. There's also a larger scale and able to do loans within their homeownership builds, but they're not heavily focused in North Minneapolis. So,
Okay, I have two questions. Number one, I'm curious when you say that North Minneapolis is having a resurgence, and I want to hear about that. And then secondly, we're making a commitment to have an activity every once a month on Mondays where maybe we go out in the community and serve in some fashion for like just 2 hours or, you know. So are there any opportunities where we might be able to do that? I heard planting flowers and I thought, oh. Yeah. But so are there opportunities where a group of like 10 people could come for 2 hours? And then also what's going on in North Minneapolis?
yeah, well, yes, there are opportunities, and I can also follow up with Sarah to connect you to my colleague who kind of plans those out. So we'd love to have you if you guys are interested. As in terms of the resurgence in North Minneapolis, again, it's been a historically underinvested community. But right now, there's been a lot of funding put into North. There's the V3 complex that has the only like Olympic-sized pool in, I want to say Minneapolis, but for sure North Minneapolis. So that's this whole new training complex, and the hope is to teach Black individuals are typically not well versed in swimming. And so there's swimming classes, there's gyms, there's a food incubator being built about a mile down the street from Housing in Action. And that is to help businesses be able to commercially cook for their businesses, as well as there's a Best Buy Tech Lab near the Capri, which is a kind of an art space in North that is focused on helping students grow in their understanding in tech, or if they have an interest in tech, to be able to just like grow in their learnings there. There's the Blue Line extension, so the light rail is going to go through North Minneapolis, which transportation justice is really great, but there's also concern with it too, and possibly taking some homes away based off where the line is going to go. So there's some good and there's some worry with some of the investment, but there's a lot happening. New homes being built. There's a new apartment just across the street from us that was just built. So a lot of opportunities and a lot of investment is happening in North. There's a new business from Eden Prairie. It's a $1 million initiative being built on Broadway as well. So a lot of investment for new job creation, home ownership, and business development. So it's a really exciting time, and my hope is in that investment is in North for the people of North. But like as you see in places like North Loop or Northeast, is when those abandoned warehouses are now redeveloped into these chic apartments, a lot of affluent people start to move in. We love that more people want to live in a place like North Minneapolis. We just don't want that to be at the expense of families who've lived there for generations.
Well, thank you very much. This is really informative.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, and I will give you this, which is that prayer that she.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, as many of you may or may not remember, one of the initiatives or the things that I ended the meetings with when I was president was a quote from Mother Teresa. And so I looked, and I had found like 50 of these quotes that I was using the year I was president. And I found a new one, and I'm like, Well, I know that Mother Teresa didn't come up with this anytime recently, so I don't know where this was when I was looking, but it was very touching. And then I'll end with one other one that I had from before. But think of Mother Teresa saying this: "I am a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter to the world." And then another one, which I hope we live every day: "Be kind and merciful. Let no one ever come to you without coming away better and happier."